On the outside, David Jones seemed to have it all together as a loving husband and father. But below the surface, he was hiding an addiction. It started in his childhood when a friend showed him a magazine.
Those first images, they sparked something within me that interested me, and I wanted to see more.
David grew up going to church, so he knew pornography was wrong.
I tried to put on this, that good Christian face and go to church and play the part. And part of me wanted to be so close to God. And then part of me just felt so guilty. And I knew if people found out, they would see me differently.
When he was 17, he met Valerie. They later married and started a family. He loved his wife, but pornography had warped his view of sex and women.
God intends it to be a mutually pleasing, a mutually beautiful experience for a husband and wife, something that draws you closer in intimacy. And honestly, that's not the way I thought of sex. I treated her, well, more like an object than a spouse, than a friend and a lover.
David spent hours on the computer watching X-rated videos. Each time he felt guilty and confessed his obsession with porn to Valerie.
I started internalizing it, thinking, okay, if I did what some of those women do on the tapes, if I look like that, then maybe he wouldn't look. So I started making it about me. There's something wrong with me.
For 10 years, the cycle continued, viewing porn, confessing to his wife, promising to stop. But nothing ever changed.
It just got to where it just knocked me flat on my face. And it was like, I'm back on my knees and I'm praying, God, what do you want me to do?
I knew that I was hurting her, and I knew I was offending God. And yet, I just didn't know what to do. But yet there was something inside of me that craved it. I never had an affair, but honestly, I was cheating by the imagery and by the self-pleasure. I was cheating.
When they joined a local church, David wanted to get involved.
I remember telling Valerie one day, I think I'm supposed to be a minister. She, of course, thought I was crazy. But just those old feelings of that call. And so we started being more active in our church, volunteering for VBS, volunteering with the youth.
But David says one day God convicted him about his sin.
There was a stench, there was a smell that I hadn't smelled before. And I was just like, what's going on? This is strange. And God spoke to my heart, and he said, David, this is what this stuff smells like to me. This is a stench to my nose. It's disgusting. And if you're going to be a minister, we're going to have to deal with this. It was God's breaking point for me, I think. He led me to this place to finally say, it's time.
David asked God to forgive him. He also had to come clean with Valerie about how bad his addiction really was.
It was hard to admit that I'd been lying to her. It was hard to admit that I'd been covering some stuff up. It was hard to see her cry, and it was hard to know it was my fault.
Part of me wanted to leave, but my heart wouldn't let me. I couldn't. I still felt like God was saying, there's hope.
David also made himself accountable to other men. Years later, he shared his struggles with his church in hopes of helping others.
It was incredible, the response. People coming up and hugging our necks and loving us and actually telling us thank you, that they had dealt with it, or a friend had dealt with it, or they're going through it right now.
David says that God has brought much healing in their marriage.
When you're able to finally forgive that person and start not focusing on yourself, but focusing on them and actually trying to help them and love on them, it's just amazing.
And it just makes me love her more, and it makes me want to treat her even better than ever before, and to just put her up on a pedestal, and say, that's my life.
Today, David warns others about how easy it is to fall into a pornography addiction.
First thing I would say is you've got to admit it. You've got to face it. You've got to confess it to God and to someone, to a wife, to a friend, to a pastor. I'm not going to lie and tell people that I'm not tempted. But what I'm going to say is God's given me the strength. He's given me the knowledge. He's given me the help that I can make better choices. And I can resist. I don't deserve His love. I don't deserve heaven. I don't deserve eternal life. And yet God says, I forgive you, and He washes that all away. And He says, come into me, be a part of me.